A dog in Thailand was rescued more than 130 miles from shore. A crew on an oil rig found him. They first noticed him paddling in the ocean, struggling to keep his head above the water.
Life's unpredictable journey doesn't favor all creatures equally. Some animals face unimaginable hardships, their chances of survival seemingly impossible. Yet compassionate individuals refuse to let them suffer. They intervene, transforming despair into hope and misery into joy. Join us as we show you the most amazing animal rescues. A Kittens Freeway rescue. In the bustling city of Los Angeles, a tiny kitten found herself trapped in the middle of a busy freeway. Scared and alone, she desperately tried to escape the zooming cars, but the fast-moving vehicles made it nearly impossible. The poor kitten, later named Little Napoleon, was not only fighting for her life on the freeway, but also struggling with an eye infection and malnourishment. Miraculously, a kind-hearted driver named Sheila Green spotted the distressed kitten amidst the chaos.
Good job. Amazing.
Without hesitation, Sheila contacted Hope for Paws, a renowned animal rescue organization. The rescue team wasted no time and rushed to the scene, navigating through the heavy traffic to reach the helpless feline. With skill and dedication, the rescuers managed to safely retrieve Little Napoleon from the treacherous freeway. Upon closer inspection, they discovered the severity of her eye infection and the extent of her malnutrition. The team immediately provided the kitten with much-needed medical attention and nourishment. The fox's daring escape. High atop the towering edifice of a city bank, a terrified fox found itself trapped, its world reduced to a few square feet of concrete and steel. The creature, scared to death and with no way down, could only huddle in a corner, awaiting its inevitable fate. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Word of the fox's plight soon reached the ears of Simon and Sarah, two intrepid members of a local wildlife rescue organization. Without a moment's hesitation, they sprang into action, racing to the scene with a singular goal in mind: to bring this frightened creature to safety. Navigating the labyrinthine interior of the bank, Simon and Sarah quickly located the fox, huddled in a corner of the rooftop. With gentle words and patient coaxing, they managed to ease the animal's fears, guiding it carefully through an open window and into the waiting arms of safety. From there, it was a quick journey to a nearby wildlife treatment center, where the fox received a thorough examination and a clean bill of health, and the fox was released into the wild. A Frosty rescue. In the heart of winter, a young fawn found itself in a perilous situation. The innocent creature had ventured onto a frozen lake, unaware of the dangers that lurked beneath the icy surface. As the fawn attempted to make its way across the lake, the thin ice gave way, plunging the helpless animal into the frigid water. Fortunately, a group of hunters happened to be in the area and witnessed the fawn's distress. Without a moment's hesitation, they sprang into action. The brave hunters carefully made their way onto the frozen lake, risking their own safety to reach the struggling fawn. Using their quick thinking and resourcefulness, the hunters managed to bring the fawn safely to shore. The little creature was exhausted and shivering from its icy ordeal. The hunters knew they had to act fast to ensure the fawn's survival. With gentle care, they helped the fawn stand on solid ground, providing it with the support and warmth it needed. After a few moments of rest, the fawn regained its strength and bounded off into the nearby woods, reuniting with its anxious mother who had been watching from a distance. The giraffe's plight. In a heart-stopping rescue operation, a courageous team of animal rights activists took on the daunting task of saving a wild giraffe from a cruel fate. The majestic creature had become ensnared by a thick metal ring, its sharp edges digging mercilessly into the animal's flesh with every movement. Mobilizing quickly, the team assembled a group of over 10 dedicated individuals, each prepared to put their own safety on the line for the sake of the giraffe. Armed with specialized equipment and an unwavering determination, they set out to immobilize the towering beast, a feat that would require every ounce of their skill and bravery. With time ticking away and the giraffe's suffering mounting, the team worked with precision and care, maneuvering around the thrashing limbs and powerful body of the terrified animal. Finally, after an intense struggle, they managed to subdue the giraffe, allowing them to painstakingly cut away the cruel metal ring that had caused so much pain. As the ring fell away and the giraffe bounded off into the wilderness, the exhausted but elated team members embraced one another, knowing that their tireless efforts had given this magnificent creature a second chance at life. The survivor dog. In the vast expanse of the Gulf of Thailand, an oil rig stood as a symbol of human industry. Little did the workers know that their platform would soon become a lifeline for a helpless creature. One day, as an employee took a break to admire the view, he noticed something unusual clinging to the metal beams of the rig. Upon closer inspection, he realized it was a dog, exhausted and desperate for salvation. The poor canine, later named Boon Rod, which translates to the survivor in Thai, had found itself stranded on the oil rig, a staggering 137 miles off the coast of Thailand. The dog's presence on the platform was a mystery, but one thing was clear: it needed immediate help. Without hesitation, the kind-hearted workers on the oil rig sprang into action. They carefully approached the frightened dog, offering it food and water to gain its trust. Boonrod, exhausted and famished, eagerly accepted the sustenance, finally feeling a glimmer of hope in its dire situation. The workers then devised a plan to bring Boonrod to safety. They gently lifted the dog onto an oil tanker, ensuring its comfort and well-being during the journey back to land. Throughout the rescue mission, Boonrod's rescuers marveled at the dog's resilience and will to survive against all odds. As news of Boonrod's incredible story spread, one of the rescuers stepped forward, expressing their desire to adopt the brave canine. Thanks to the compassion and quick thinking of the oil rig workers, Boonrod not only survived its harrowing ordeal, but also found a loving forever home. A whale of a rescue. In the picturesque waters off the shores of British Columbia, a magnificent killer whale found itself in a dire predicament. In July 2015, the majestic creature became trapped between rocks during low tide, unable to free itself as the water level continued to drop. The sight of the distressed whale caught the attention of locals, who quickly rallied together to save the stranded animal. As word of the whale's plight spread, a group of dedicated individuals sprang into action. They knew that time was of the essence, and every moment counted in ensuring the whale's survival. Armed with determination and a deep respect for marine life, the locals worked tirelessly for 8 grueling hours to keep the whale hydrated and alive. The rescuers used damp rags to cover the whale's body, preventing its skin from drying out under the harsh sun. They continuously poured water over the rags, providing the whale with much-needed moisture. The gentle giants of the sea are known for their social nature, and the presence of the caring humans undoubtedly brought comfort to the distressed whale. As the hours passed, the locals refused to give up hope. They rotated shifts, ensuring the whale received constant attention and care. The exhausting efforts paid off when the tide finally began to rise, gradually lifting the whale from its rocky prison. With a powerful surge of water, the killer whale was able to swim free, its tail propelling it back into the depths of the ocean. The House of Horrors. In a shocking discovery, animal welfare authorities uncovered a house of horrors where 40 innocent cats had been subjected to unimaginable neglect and cruelty. The felines had been abandoned by their owner for more than 6 months, left to fend for themselves in deplorable conditions. When rescuers entered the house, they were met with a scene of utter despair. The floors were covered in feces and urine, and the air was thick with the stench of neglect. Fleas infested every surface, tormenting the already weakened cats. The once vibrant felines were now emaciated, their fur matted and their eyes dull with hopelessness. The rescue team worked diligently to remove cats from the nightmare environment. Each feline was carefully captured and transported to a safe haven where they could receive the medical attention and care they so desperately needed. Many of the cats were suffering from severe malnutrition, respiratory infections, and other health issues resulting from their prolonged neglect. As word of the horrific situation spread, the community rallied around the rescued felines. Donations of food, medical supplies, and funds poured in to support their recovery. Foster homes opened their doors, providing the cats with the love and comfort they had been denied for so long. Thanks to the tireless efforts of the rescue organization and the generosity of the community, the 40 cats were given a second chance at life. Slowly but surely, they began to heal physically and emotionally. The dog and the pipe. In the bustling city of Mumbai, India, a stray dog's life hung in the balance as it found itself trapped in a cruel twist of fate. The unfortunate canine, who had recently given birth to a litter of 5 puppies, had become ensnared in a PVC pipe that tightly encircled its neck. The pipe constricted the dog's airway, making every breath a struggle and threatening the well-being of both the mother and her helpless young. Alerted to the dog's plight, a team of dedicated animal rescuers from the local community sprang into action. They carefully approached the distressed canine, speaking in soothing tones to calm its frayed nerves. The dog, exhausted from its ordeal and concerned for its puppies, allowed the rescuers to draw near. Armed with patience and specialized tools, the rescuers began the delicate process of removing the pipe from the dog's neck. The thick plastic proved stubborn, resisting their initial attempts to cut through it. Undeterred, they persevered, knowing that every moment counted in ensuring the dog's survival. After several tense attempts, the rescuers finally managed to create a small opening in the pipe. Gently but firmly, they worked to widen the gap, taking extreme care not to cause any further harm to the dog. Inch by inch, the pipe began to yield, and with a final determined effort, the rescuers successfully freed the dog from its plastic prison. The moment the pipe was removed, the dog's relief was palpable. It took a deep, unencumbered breath, savoring the freedom that had been so cruelly denied. Without hesitation, the dog rushed to its puppies, eager to nurse and care for them after their shared ordeal. The daring duckling rescue. In the scorching heat of an Arizona summer, a mother duck found herself in a desperate situation. Her precious ducklings had fallen into a storm drain, disappearing from sight, and leaving her frantically pacing back and forth in distress. The mother duck's instincts kicked in, and she refused to abandon her little ones, even as the situation seemed hopeless. Alerted to the unfolding drama, a group of dedicated rescuers sprang into action. Without hesitation, they descended into the dark and damp storm drain, determined to bring the ducklings back to safety. The confined space and slippery surfaces made the rescue mission a challenging one, but the rescuers persevered, driven by their unwavering commitment to the well-being of the feathered family. As the rescuers carefully navigated the labyrinth of the storm drain, the mother duck, unable to bear the separation any longer, made a daring decision. In a remarkable display of maternal instinct, she jumped into the drain herself, joining the rescuers in their search for her missing ducklings. Together, the unlikely team worked tirelessly, scouring every inch of the drain for signs of the tiny, downy creatures. One by one, the ducklings were located and gently lifted to safety, their soft peeps filling the air with relief and joy. However, as the rescue operation neared its end, the rescuers realized that one little duckling had been left behind, separated from its siblings in the chaos. Undeterred, they quickly spotted the straggler and swiftly reunited it with its anxious mother and siblings. The entire feathered family was saved from the perils of the storm drain. The elephant calf's rescue. Deep in the heart of the wilderness, a young elephant calf found itself in a precarious situation. The curious little one had ventured too close to a deceptively deep hole, hidden among the lush foliage. In a moment of misstep, the calf tumbled into the abyss, its small body engulfed by the earthen walls that now held it captive. The distressed cries of the calf echoed through the forest, alerting its mother and the rest of the herd to the dire situation. The adult elephants quickly gathered around the hole, their trunks probing the depths in a desperate attempt to reach the trapped youngster. However, despite their immense strength and size, the hole proved too narrow and deep for them to successfully retrieve the calf on their own. Word of the elephant calf's plight soon reached the ears of a dedicated team of wildlife rescuers. Without hesitation, they mobilized their resources and rushed to the scene, determined to save the helpless creature from its earthly prison. However, they faced a significant challenge: the fiercely protective mother elephant, who refused to leave her baby's side. To ensure the safety of both the calf and the rescue team, a daring plan was hatched. A helicopter was brought in to hover above the scene, its whirring blades and powerful downdraft serving as a distraction for the mother elephant. The skilled pilot maneuvered the aircraft with precision, drawing the mother's attention skyward and creating a momentary window of opportunity for the rescuers to approach the hole. With the mother elephant temporarily distracted, the rescue team quickly set to work. Using ropes, pulleys, and their combined strength, they carefully hoisted the frightened calf out of the hole, inch by precious inch. The young elephant, exhausted from its ordeal, collapsed into the waiting arms of its rescuers, its eyes wide with fear and confusion. The rescuers gently carried the little one back to the waiting herd, where it was greeted with a chorus of trumpets and gentle caresses from its relieved mother and family members. The Jaguars Tale. In the heart of the Amazon jungle, a tiny jaguar cub named Jaquita found herself alone and vulnerable, abandoned by her mother in the dense undergrowth. The reasons for her abandonment remained a mystery, but one thing was certain. Without intervention, the young cub's chances of survival were slim. Fate intervened when a patrol of the Brazilian army stumbled upon the helpless cub during a routine mission. Moved by the sight of the defenseless creature, the soldiers made the compassionate decision to rescue Jaquita and bring her back to their base camp. There, they took on the role of surrogate parents, providing the young jaguar with the care, nourishment, and protection she so desperately needed. Under the watchful eye of her military caregivers, Jaquita thrived, growing into a strong and healthy juvenile. The bond between the jaguar and her human companions deepened with each passing day, as they marveled at her playful antics and fierce intelligence. However, the soldiers knew that their ultimate goal was to prepare Jaquita for a return to the wild, where she truly belonged. With heavy hearts but unwavering determination, the Brazilian army carefully planned Jaquita's release. They sought out a remote and pristine area of the Amazon, far from human encroachment, where the young jaguar could rediscover her instincts and carve out a territory of her own. As they watched Jaquita take her first tentative steps back into the jungle, the soldiers felt a mix of pride and sadness, knowing that they had played a crucial role in giving her a second chance at life. But Jaquita's story was far from over. Months later, during a period of severe flooding in the Amazon, the Brazilian army received an alarming report. A jaguar had been spotted, stranded, and struggling in the rising waters, unable to find higher ground. Without hesitation, the soldiers set out to investigate, their hearts filled with a sense of foreboding. To their astonishment, the jaguar in distress was none other than Jaquita, the very same cub they had rescued and released months earlier. The flooding had caught her off guard, forcing her to seek refuge in an area that was rapidly disappearing beneath the surging waters. Once again, the Brazilian army sprang into action, mounting a daring rescue mission to save the jaguar they had come to regard as one of their own. Giselle's incredible transformation. In a heart-wrenching scene, animal experts discovered a horse named Giselle in a dire condition. The once majestic creature was a mere shadow of her former self, with bones protruding starkly beneath a coat caked in mud and filth. Giselle's malnourished frame trembled with each labored step, and her dull eyes spoke volumes of the neglect and suffering she had endured. The experts quickly realized the severity of Giselle's situation, rating her condition a mere 1 on a scale of 10. The horse's halter had been left on for so long that it had become partially embedded in her skin, a cruel testament to the prolonged neglect she had faced. Without immediate intervention, Giselle's chances of survival were slim. Approaching the weakened horse with urgency and care, the experts gently removed the embedded halter, revealing the raw, tender skin beneath. Giselle's emaciated body told a story of prolonged starvation, and the experts knew that reintroducing food would be a delicate process, as her digestive system had grown dangerously fragile. Under their watchful eye, Giselle began her long road to recovery, starting with small, frequent meals of easily digestible food and gradually increasing the portions as her body grew stronger. Clean water, a luxury she had been denied for far too long, was always within reach, helping to flush out the accumulated toxins. As weeks turned into months, Giselle's transformation was miraculous. Her skeletal frame slowly filled out, her coat regained its luster, and her demeanor changed from dull and timid to bright, curious, and playful. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Some animals suffer at the hands of cruel humans who inflict unimaginable pain and torture upon them. This was the tragic reality for Jackson, an English Mastiff owned by Hayden Howard. When Hayden noticed strange marks on Jackson's body, she initially dismissed them as minor injuries from outdoor play or insect bites. However, as the marks multiplied, her concern grew, and she scheduled an appointment with the veterinarian. During the examination, the vet made a heartbreaking discovery. When doctor saw these marks, he burst into tears, realizing the true nature of Jackson's injuries. The marks were not caused by insects or playful adventures, but by a deliberate act of cruelty. Someone had shot Jackson with numerous metal pellets, leaving him in excruciating pain and distress. Hayden was shocked and devastated by the revelation, but remained focused on helping Jackson recover. With the loving support of his owner and the skilled care of the veterinary team, Jackson slowly began to heal from his physical and emotional wounds. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments. The dog with the pumpkin-sized head. In the bustling city of Houston, Texas, a heartbreaking sight caught the attention of animal lovers and rescuers alike. A homeless dog, just 10 months old, wandered the streets with a head so swollen it resembled a pumpkin. The poor creature, later named Charlie, was a pitiful sight, his misery compounded by the cruel contraption that had caused his condition, a shoestring tightly wrapped around his neck. As Charlie struggled to navigate the unforgiving streets, his plight was spotted by a compassionate passerby, who immediately contacted Houston K911, a local animal rescue organization known for its tireless efforts to save the city's most vulnerable creatures. Without hesitation, the team sprang into action, determined to bring Charlie to safety and alleviate his suffering. When the rescuers finally managed to catch the elusive dog, they were shocked by the extent of his injuries. The shoestring had cut deep into Charlie's neck, causing his head to swell to an alarming size. As they carefully removed the makeshift collar, they discovered yet another horror. Embedded in the dog's leg were 26 pieces of bullet shrapnel, a grim testament to the cruelty he had endured in his short life. Undeterred by the severity of Charlie's condition, the Houston K911 team rushed him to a nearby animal hospital, where a dedicated team of veterinarians worked tirelessly to save his life. The road to recovery was long and arduous, with Charlie requiring round-the-clock care and multiple surgeries to address his injuries. Over the course of a month, Charlie's condition improved, and his true personality emerged. The swelling in his head subsided, revealing soulful eyes, and his wounds began to heal. The bullet shrapnel was removed, and Charlie learned to trust and love again. Finally, Charlie was ready for adoption, and a loving family welcomed him into their home. They marveled at his resilience and the joy that radiated from him, a testament to the power of love and compassion in the face of cruelty. The puppy in the pipe. In the bustling streets of India, a heartwarming rescue unfolded when a man and his son stumbled upon a distressing sight. As they rode their scooters through the city, their ears picked up the faint, pitiful cries of a puppy in distress. Determined to locate the source of the sound,
I can squeeze you in there.
They soon discovered a small, frightened puppy trapped inside a narrow plastic pipe. The pipe, barely wide enough to accommodate the puppy's tiny body, had a small hole through which the distressed animal had managed to squeeze itself. However, once inside, the puppy found itself unable to escape, its cries growing more desperate with each passing moment. The man and his son knew they had to act quickly to save the helpless creature from its predicament. Without hesitation, the father-son duo approached the pipe, their hearts filled with compassion for the trapped puppy. After removing it from the pipe, the man and his son decided to take the weak and dehydrated animal home with them. They knew the puppy needed immediate care and attention to survive, and were determined to provide it with the love and nurturing it desperately needed. The Leaping Leopard. Deep in the heart of the wilderness, a majestic leopard found itself facing an unexpected and perilous situation. The proud feline had fallen into a 20-foot deep hole filled with icy water, struggling to keep its head above the surface. The hole's steep walls offered no escape, and the leopard's strength was quickly waning in the frigid depths. Fortunately, a group of dedicated wildlife rescuers received word of the leopard's plight and raced to the scene. Upon assessing the situation, they realized that time was of the essence. The leopard had been trapped in the water for an unknown period, and hypothermia was a looming threat. The rescue team quickly devised a plan to save the exhausted feline. They lowered a sturdy cage into the water, hoping that the leopard would muster the energy to climb inside. To their relief, the leopard's survival instincts kicked in, and it leaped into the cage without hesitation, desperate to escape the bone-chilling water. With the leopard safely secured, the rescuers carefully hoisted the cage out of the hole. The leopard, visibly drained from its ordeal, remained calm as the team assessed its condition. Miraculously, despite prolonged exposure to cold water, the leopard appeared to be healthy. After a brief period of observation and rest, rescuers determined the leopard was ready to return to its natural habitat. They transported the majestic creature to a nearby forest and carefully released it back into the wild. With a powerful leap, the leopard vanished into the dense foliage, its spirit unbroken and its freedom restored. The skunk's predicament. In the icy grip of winter, a kind-hearted woman stumbled upon a heart-wrenching sight. There, in the snow-covered landscape, a helpless skunk wandered aimlessly, its head trapped inside a discarded glass jar. The jar, likely carelessly tossed aside by an unknowing individual, had become a prison for the unfortunate creature. With each passing moment, the skunk grew weaker, unable to eat or drink, its life hanging in the balance. Without hesitation, the woman sprang into action. Approaching the frightened animal with gentle reassurances, she worked tirelessly to free it from its cruel confinement. The task was daunting, as the skunk, disoriented and terrified, struggled against her efforts. But the woman's determination never wavered. With patience and perseverance, she finally managed to remove the jar, watching with relief as the skunk, freed from its ordeal, scurried off into the snowy wilderness. The zebra's second chance. Under the unrelenting African sun, a group of safari-goers found themselves faced with a heart-wrenching scene. There, collapsed upon the parched earth, lay a lone zebra, its once vibrant stripes now dulled by the ravages of dehydration. The group, moved by the creature's plight, knew that they could not stand idly by. With a sense of urgency, they approached the weakened animal, their hands bearing the life-giving gift of water. Gently, they coaxed the zebra to drink, watching with bated breath as the precious liquid passed its cracked lips. Minutes turned to hours as they tended to the stricken animal, their own thirst and fatigue forgotten in the face of its desperate need. And then, just when all seemed lost, the zebra began to stir. Its dulled eyes flickered with a newfound spark of life, and slowly, shakily, it rose to its feet. The safari-goers watched in awe as the animal they had fought so hard to save took its first tentative steps toward a second chance at life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.